Hello, everybody. It's Fizzchozo, along with Metallicus.
How's it going?
And today we are discussing the Made in Abyss film, Dawn of a Deep Soul.
Yeah, and this was a pretty interesting one for me. Like this movie gets dark. Like the anime itself is not afraid; it does not pull any punches, and the movie
Mhm.
just takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, but it's on same name second season. Second season is on the same level as the movie. Um, but this show, now I fell in love with Made in Abyss with season one because season one was already amazing even from the first episode.
Yeah, it was pretty good,
No,
and then the movie came out, and it's like I mean having seen the movie now as kind of the end cap to season one.
yes.
That was really interesting, and how the road they chose to go down on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell it's only going to get the deeper they get, the worse it's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much a theme from minute one. Is up at the surface, everything's kind of bright. Now, one thing they haven't really gone into as much. They've mentioned it a couple of times, but you don't. I don't know where they're going with it. Is the birthday disease?
It's starting. It's we'll start to get hits of that in season two. More about that in plot.
Okay, I
And
was gonna say because they keep mentioning it, and I know it's going to be important at some point because they wouldn't have drawn this much attention to it otherwise. But like you don't really know what's going on, which I find cool. And like I like when stories do that, especially like in longer form stuff where it's like, oh yeah, remember that? We're gonna get back to that later. Like
yeah,
that's
the
gonna be
manga ain't finished
important in a
yet. So
minute.
we don't know. Still, we still don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, so the even in the manga they haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, so we still don't know what it is. We don't.
Okay.
We don't know. We'll know what the hell's going on yet. About that yet. But
You can,
this movie on
but they're setting it up in a way that you can tell it's going to be extremely important later.
yeah. Right, there's yeah, kind of hints pointing towards in the second season, but we don't know exactly
Yeah,
what
that's
exactly
gonna.
what's going on.
My guess is it's going to be a main plot line of some sort.
Eventually at some point. This all this adapts the Bondrewd arc from the manga because it's just too dark for it to put it in season one.
And he is a really interesting villain.
I know, but the way they did this as a movie was amazing. I felt when I watched it felt like I'm actually watching a Ghibli movie, but it's not. But it's not. It's actually gets too gruesome for that.
Well, like you said, it's the animator used to work for Studio Ghibli, so that's not
Mm,
surprising. He'd bring a
mm,
lot of
it-
that art style over to his new projects,
mm. Now keep in
which
mind,
and
the
that's
art
and
really is good in the manga.
the animation in the series is fantastic, and I think the
Mm,
movie they did a little bit better. It seems like a little crisper,
mm,
and
because it's a movie.
yeah, and like they actually had like a better budget, I guess, to for the graphics, so it looks fantastic,
Mm,
and
yeah.
the movements are very crisp, very clean. Like it's really well produced.
Mm, we get uh uh Rico, they did Rico. The start of the movie is that Rico, Reg, and Nanachi all encounter the one of the weirdest parasites we've seen yet.
Yep.
There's a worse one in season two, but of course, but we're not gonna spoil that. This is one of the weirdest parasites we've seen yet. Was this bug? This bug that lays its eggs inside people and then it feeds itself to them to keep them alive for the babies. They eat them all the way out.
Yeah. It's basically like the xenomorph from Alien, just in insect form.
Mm,
Yeah, even more horrifying.
mm. Yeah.
It's
Uh,
that was one of those like when they explain what those things are, and they don't look that evil too. Like
they look,
it looks like a bug that's shaped like a leaf. There's a million of them, but
yeah, like a stick bug or something, like one of those camouflage bugs.
yeah, it looks. I think it's disguised to look as a leaf, like a leaf.
I know, look like a leaf, so you wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't even look that threatening. And then the one of Bondrewd's minions goes into like what this thing actually does, and it's
Mm,
like, oh, that's horrific.
and they said it came up from the sixth layer, which I was like came up from the sixth layer, which
That's
kind of
not
weird.
good.
Uh, and they're not supposed to be there, and he had to destroy their nest, which is just some hill. Well,
Yeah,
Frank
and
Gore.
I love how his solution is essentially just burn it, burn it
Mm.
all.
But we learn more about the Umber Hands later. Um, uh,
Yeah,
but that scene immediately establishes the tone. When I first saw this, I was like, wow.
and like I love
Oh,
how you only see like one or two bodies at first, and then you realize just how many of them there are,
mm,
and you're like, oh,
mm.
so he's in a lot more trouble than he appears to be.
Of course, no, well, not really, not really, because he's invulnerable. So
Well, true, but the others are
yeah.
in quite a bit of trouble,
mm,
like much more than they realize.
mm,
And I love the duality of it too, because they're in like this beautiful field of flowers that's like very open, very bright.
mm.
Like, like
And even that's dangerous.
when this show gets dark, it's bad. If it gets bright and really nice, it's even worse.
Mm,
Something bad, because something really, really nasty is about to happen.
mm,
But
mm, mm.
I
So the
really did like that scene where they're like, like as he keeps going down the list of how this thing works, like you can almost see Reg is just like, oh, like he, the more he hears about it, like the more he's just like, okay, that's not good.
uh
And even
uh uh
Nanachi, I think, barely like they get Riko and Nanachi get out of it, but not quick, or
mm,
not perfectly.
mm. One no one gets bitten, but that's not important. That's not a big deal though.
Yeah,
Like, no, it's always a problem when they lay eggs inside you, and which they didn't have the opportunity to do.
yeah. Which like there's, at least there's that.
Mm,
So like they got away with a couple of bug bites, but
mm,
which I imagine are painful, but not like actually life threatening. And then they
So
get down to the bottom of the fifth layer.
when they actually get in break into Bondrew's palace, but using using icebergs that's down there.
Yep.
Uh, that Michael laughs any moment, but the
And
jump to his,
almost do, if I remember right. One of
yeah,
one of them does like right after they're off of it.
and look and before before they can make it to the entrance, of course they encounter Pruska, who
Mm-hmm.
was Bondrew's daughter, well, kind of sort of his daughter.
Yeah,
We do.
that reveal comes later in the movie.
Mm, uh, uh, not well. It comes almost as soon as we meet her, because
Yeah.
Bondrew shows up,
Oh, that's right. He does
and
mention that pretty much right off the bat.
yeah. And now she's actually surprised. You never met her before, so she was surprised he had a daughter.
Yeah, which means she couldn't have been around that long because Nanachi knew him already from when
Mm.
he was, or
No,
from
he didn't. Just didn't tell him to just show him allow her to meet them.
oh, okay.
And that
How
makes
old is
sense.
Nana? Like they don't really go into how long Nanachi's been that way.
Keep in mind, keep in mind, it couldn't be that long. I think they're still grown, so it could be that long.
True. Although
No, that no,
the scene with her and Minnie was freaking heartbreaking in the series.
yeah, I know, I was there, but it couldn't been that long. Because he's probably just didn't show Pruska to her or any of the other kids because he knows he's about to kill them. I mean, immediately. So why we show that?
Yeah, and this facility is set up quite well to keep things kind of compartmentalized and isolated.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense. So it makes sense why she wouldn't know because people didn't because probably wouldn't introduce them to each other because of course he's going to torture them and kill them immediately. So why we
Which is really funny because like we know he's a bad guy and we know
mm,
that he's responsible for Nadachi and Millie or Minnie,
mm-hmm.
and yet he seems really polite and friendly at first.
He seems like that all the way through, even while he fighting them.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
always
Even what?
compliments you while he fighting you.
Yeah, and it's just a very interesting character, and he goes from like concerned father figure almost to the actual villain while they're fighting, but is also an almost like an encouraging instructor in some ways, because like when they do something really cool, he's like, "Oh, that's excellent, fascinating," something like that. He's really
Uh,
interesting.
mhm, for some reason, Rico recognized he made a stupid decision of sleeping in one of his rooms and one of his facility.
Hmm.
That's one of the dumbest decisions ever. like like you should never go to sleep and sleep there. But it
Yeah, I love too how like not that she's warning them of just like don't volunteer information. Don't tell them anything more than you have to. And Rico immediately just starts telling them everything
yeah, tell
about
Fruski
where they
everything.
where they're from, who they are, what they did to get there. Just like, and now that she's
Mm.
like, they even now that she's like just like,
Of course, and of course, and of course, Rico and Fruski become fast friends
of
because,
course, because I mean, Prushka's never met someone her age,
of course, she's
so
never
yeah,
met someone
so
her age.
she's really excited because she actually has a friend her age for once.
Yeah, yeah, she spent her whole life being raised by Umber Hands and not seeing nobody else.
Yeah, and she's also never been
N-
to the surface.
Never been to the surface. I know she's born in the abyss. Um,
So it's really interesting for her to meet someone who isn't from the abyss.
mhm. So, uh, she never even seen the upper layer. She just all sees the fifth layer, and that's it.
Yep. And
Um,
like I love how they really do build her character very well at first.
mhm.
And
Just
you
to
really
break your
get
hearts later.
oh yeah, I mean, and they I can tell that's what they're setting me up for because it's like this is a character we've never met before and she's really friendly.
Mhm,
Something really bad's going to happen to her.
mhm,
Um,
mm,
and yeah, I was not disappointed in that.
uh, uh,
Possibly the
uh,
most horrific thing the show's done to this point.
also, it's fun. It was funny when it was strange when Rico wakes up and to see all her friends are gone because now that she had went out to talk to Banjuru, the makes some kind of deep the truth with Banjuru.
And I
Only
knew
to, only
that, but
only
I was interested to see where Reg was because
I know. Only to discover Rig, he already had his men try to dissect Rig
yep,
already. He didn't even before he made the truth
they
like
they
already
yeah they didn't even get past hello.
he's
He was
already
already
dissecting
planning
Rig.
on kidnapping him. Yeah,
He's already doing that. He meet like
I mean, Bondrewd wasn't fucking around. He was just like, it's like, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna tear this kid apart. Why? Because I want to know how he works. And like
yeah
they did, and they like they were only been there like an hour
mhm,
before Reg kid before Reg gets kidnapped.
and they that second Rig. We actually only has blood.
Yep.
Uh, because they cut his arm off.
Yeah.
Uh, and what
They cut
they
it
lose
right
a
off at the hand.
yeah, right, right hand off. Or we actually when he has blood. Well,
Yep.
but that's not really surprising though, considering how human looks. He's probably kind of cyborg, most
Yeah.
likely.
So everyone's like, okay, well, but it had been a question before then, so it's not a surprising answer, but we do now have a definitive answer of
He
yes,
probably was a human at some point.
like yes, in fact, he is part human or was at one point. So you do get a lot more character building in these stories or in this story
Mm,
in terms of also his abilities because later on, like during the final fight, Reg's going all out
he, uh,
and he's actually capable of quite a bit.
mm, Yeah. Um. By the way, during the first fight, the first time, because after Rico, with a new, Pruska has this Pokemon like creature called Mania.
Yep. And it's again, it's designed to be as cute and cuddly as possible. So when it does, when horrible things happen later, it's even more shocking.
Mm, Mania, because Mania of course, since the force fields, same thing on Odyssey actually.
Yep.
Uh, uh, well, if you don't know what the force field is actually the magic aura that allows the curse to work. They also,
And it's also what's responsible for for the damage being done to people
yes,
as you come up
yeah,
through the layers.
yeah. It only works on humans. Doesn't work on anything that comes from the abyss.
Correct. In fact, it actually they can all see it and kind of
All the
interact with it in
animals,
a way.
all the animals that evolve in the abyss can all see it. All yeah, no, at least if they all, even though no, they all ones who can't see it, but even then they can still feel it and use it as a magic system.
Yeah, they can kind of interact with it in a lot of ways, and most of them can sense it in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really like the first fight with Bondru too because you don't like you see him get killed almost right away, and then it's just like, wait a minute, how are we coming back from
By
this?
those arachnid things.
Yeah, which are really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and
The monsters in the show, like we said in the previous episode, just they're great. Like they're
I
really well
know.
designed. They're unique. They don't look like anything else.
Mm. The monster design of the show is really great. There's more in season two.
Yeah, and they're really smartly designed. Where it's not like not to show on the show because I absolutely love it, but like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it's literally just two real world animals smashed together.
Oh, I love Avatar: Last Airbender.
It's such a fantastic show.
The original series is good. Legend of Korra, not so much.
The first couple seasons were all right.
I
I
watched the
remember
first.
watch, I remember watching the first two, and it was pretty good.
I watched the first season. It was kind of boring, but I found it.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow burn.
But then I didn't even bother with the second season though, or after that.
Third one, I was where I got off the boat, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the original series was just brilliant.
Mm. Yeah. Me personally, you didn't really need to give the Avatar backstory. Uh, Even if you
Yeah,
do,
in terms of where the Avatar came from and stuff like that, you just need to know that he's a thing.
yeah, you don't need even when even if you do give an Avatar backstory, they could have thought something better than that because that was not very not impressive.
Yeah, but but no, I mean, but the monsters in that are mostly for real world
Two real
and
world animals mixed together most of
yeah,
the time.
yeah, multiple real world animals that are kind of mashed up with
No,
something else.
no,
And then
no, and they call it in the story as that.
oh
Like
yeah,
literally name
like
it.
they don't even make up a fun name for it like Pokemon does.
Yeah, they just
Um,
mix two animals together, then just say that in the story. Like what for example, what one that it was one that they had
Momo
most of
flying. Well, I think they just call him a flying lemur.
uh
Because
no
that's
like
what he is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just mix two real animals together, and there's only a couple of exceptions, the king's pet bear. I forgot what
Yep.
it was, just a regular bear, and they literally even point out in the story as weird.
Yeah, like oh, is it a platypus bear?
No, it wasn't
It's
flat.
a,
They had platypus
no, but
bears
there
in the
are in the
show.
story. Yeah, but there are like in terms. But yeah, it's like two different real world creatures that they're just crossbred essentially.
That
They just call a platypus bear or whatever.
mhm,
And Made in Abyss really takes it to a whole new level with basing them on real world insects in a lot of cases or creatures, but
mhm,
adding things in a way that makes them really, really sinister.
yeah, so we got
Like
these flesh
like the
arachnids things.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
insect like the insects from the beginning, or these flesh arachnid things that basically liquefy you.
No. And Bondru kills all these flesh arachnids things.
Yeah,
Oh, with laser cannons, with laser cannons, he got built into his armor. What built into his suit? He has a he has a lot of gadgets on him.
Well, I mean, especially living down there, you kind of have to.
No, he's actually a mad scientist. So he actually
Well, yeah,
and this to that he also takes a lot of artifacts and reverse engineers them. So he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
yeah, and well, I mean, when you live down in the fifth level or the fifth layer, you kind of have to because there's some pretty horrific shit out there that if you're not paying attention will absolutely mess you up.
Mm,
And
uh,
I mean, that happens.
mm,
And when they first start fighting, is they basically the gang basically lures him into that location because that's where the arachnids are.
it kills them instantly, and then
And then he just basically comes back in one of the Umber guards.
and then and Ray pretty much does all the fighting in his fight force. He's the only one who can.
Yeah,
Mm.
he's the only one with actual fighting ability. I mean,
He don't want he's
Nana's a fluffy
indestructible.
bunny.
He
Yeah,
he's
he's
invulnerable. And also has superhuman strength. So
yeah, and meanwhile the other two are a 12-year-old girl and
a rabbit
what
hollow.
what we think is a girl that's a fluffy rabbit.
Yeah,
I
rabbit
guess.
girl. I know. It's like what?
So it's like not exactly not exactly the greatest fighters on earth.
Exactly. So
So there, I mean, that
so
that solidifies Reg's role in the show as kind of their
the muscle.
protector. Yeah,
He's pretty much
their
that's
guard.
that.
He's there to keep them out of trouble.
Mhm. He's there to fight. You always fight the monsters and whatnot. That come,
Yeah,
or a human will become some kind of weird cybernetic death machine. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
actually, I'd say he's more of a monster than most of the critters down there.
yeah,
When you find out what powers he has and his ability to do all that is
mhm.
it's pretty horrific.
uh, 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 yeah, because they shoot him with some of the eggs from the bug parasite from the start of the movie. They
Yep,
inject him with that, and then they drag him underwater. Ray drags him underwater and drags him back up again, just like we did to all them kids we experimented on. That was a cool moment.
but yeah, he
Drags him
drags them
back up
down.
from the sixth layer.
Yeah,
Drags him up from the sixth layer.
yeah, and
Mm,
none of it phases him at first, and they're like,
mm.
"How the hell is he doing that?
No, no, no,
Because
no,
that
no, no,
shouldn't
no.
be
He did.
possible."
They drag him from bring him down to the sixth layer, well, underwater, and then they drag him up from it, and then of course Ray drags him up from it, and then of course he gets horribly mutated, and then Ray drops a whole iceberg on him and basically destroys his entire lower body and
Yeah,
killing. Basically, he's dying with flesh warp and everything. Uh, uh, yeah, but then all of a sudden, one of his minions, one of the upper hands designated to protecting Frushka, rips his helmet off and puts it on, and then all of a sudden he's Bonjour's back again. We learned
yep.
at that
And
we like
they think it's the helmet that's protecting him, but it's
it
not.
is.
Partially it
It,
is,
it
but there's other ways
yeah, we
that you find out later that it's really what's going on.
yeah, we learned they've got something called the soul slave machine, which allows him to transfer his soul into other beings' bodies. Uh, through this helmet, that's connected to neck. So if whoever
Yep.
puts the helmet on becomes Banjuru. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
basically, whoever puts the helmet on is now him, essentially.
mm, mm, and
Um,
and also the Umbral. We learned that the Umbral hands are actually all clones of him.
yeah,
The, the
which is
Umbral hands
interesting
are
because they're all shaped differently.
they all genetically modified clones of him, kind of.
Yeah, but it's like when you find out they're all clones, I'm like they kind of they do a really good job of disguising that because they're all
Mm.
shaped differently. They're all very different body types
Not
when
exactly,
you first
not
see them.
exactly that. No, not exactly that different from him because they all have these weird coats on that disguise their physical forms underneath.
Yeah, but in terms
Uh,
of how they're drawn, they're all drawn so that they look different.
I know, but they're all clones of him. They all kind of modified too. They were all
Yeah.
like, because the first one, the first time he switched his bodies on screen, that one has a tail.
No,
Uh,
that's right. Yeah.
yeah, so they all modified clones of himself. We don't know what artifact he used to do that, or if he just has technology to do that. We don't know. We know what.
My guess is he's been experimenting around long enough that he just knows how to do that.
So he got they all just modified versions or clones of himself.
And
And,
there's a lot of that in anime in general. I mean, let's face it, one of the most famous examples is Orochimaru from Naruto,
mm,
where he's constantly modifying himself.
mm,
But he's actually a very similar character to Orochimaru, where he's very polite but very, very creepy at the same time, you know? And like you say, like I love the design of him too, where you never see his face.
we don't. I know.
So we
We
don't
never
know
get to see
what he
his
looks
face.
like.
I know. We know he used to be human because this backstory, but we're gonna get to that later.
Yeah.
I'll get into that later. So apparently, they come was another plan to be the Rico and Rico Reg now have come with another plan to beat him. To beat him, of course. Since that didn't work, since apparently he just making new body, having new bodies, more bodies himself.
Yeah.
So uh,
So
each
until he runs out of Umbra hands, you're never going to kill him.
exactly. And keep in mind, he has a whole bunch of weird gadgets on each body. Like that one had bullet gun bracelets.
Yep. And
Uh,
each one of them does have a different ability really
yeah,
that he
yeah.
uses, which makes sense
No.
because they're all designed for different things that he uses day
Mm.
to day because they're also his assistants. And then at the end of it, or on top of that, you have their combat uses, which are very different.
Mm.
Um,
Mm. The Rico and Reg Nanachi, they all three of them have to uh like, have to come with another plan because that plan didn't work. So now the new plan is to get Reg as powerful as possible by charging them up on the let's the facility's electric grid,
yep.
which by the way, they kind of skirt past this, but Bondru has his own hydroelectric generator, hydroelectric.
Yeah, I noticed that where like they mention it once very briefly and then skate right past it.
Y- Yeah, but the manga made more a little bit more clear though. He has his own hydroelectric grid.
Which it makes sense to not really focus on that much, like, because it's
Yeah,
not really that germane to the story.
yeah, but
So
it is important at this point because he had the like where he's getting electricity from. That's where he's getting it from. They actually,
yeah,
sh- they actually showed it more in the manga.
so they do explain it, but they just
Yeah.
kind of gloss right over it real quick, and then it was like, yeah, this is where they got the power from. So moving, like, and then moves on pretty
Mm,
swiftly.
yeah. So they take the yeah they take the Rick has to take to overcharge himself in electricity, which makes him go insane
And
temporarily.
yet,
Meanwhile,
he turns into an absolute beast.
mm, came temporarily.
And,
Then
yeah, and basically starts tearing that stronghold apart.
mhm. By the way, I heard that meanwhile Rico and Nanachi go into one of Bonjour's workshops, and that's when we learn that he's been killing these kids. He's been killing these kids, and then turn them, and then scraping most of the external organs out, and then place them inside, and then place them inside these little boxes, packages he has on called cartridges.
Yeah, that basically transfer the effects of the curse from him to somebody else. So
Yes,
that's how he gets around it.
yes, yeah. Place on himself so he can go to the sixth layer and then come back up. Come back up with only the blessings, as he calls it, which is the blessing he gave to Nanachi.
Yep,
At least
because
that's what
she was the first one he found with that.
that actually worked.
Yeah,
Mm,
no, that was actually successful on, and
yeah,
that's
that's
also
not.
why Mitty got as horribly disfigured as she did.
Yeah. One
because
gets the
she got the good side and she got the downside.
yes, yes. At least he calls it the good side. Not that she doesn't see it as a good side. I mean, she didn't want to become this. So let's
True,
average
but
girl.
I would much rather be a, you know, rabbit person than a horrifying goo monster.
Mm,
Um, and that scene was brutal because
uh,
like almost every other anime I've seen or most shows would have just shown her as she was before and then after, not showed the transformation itself. That was
mm,
gruesome. Which,
but oh,
if anyone watching has any problem with violence or gore whatsoever, this is not your show.
mm, oh, uh,
It's like
mm,
you have been warned.
uh, speaking of that, going back to that scene in the first season, this part they mentioned the manga, but they cut out the anime. Um, they mentioned it, but apparently the town of Orf used to have them. The people who came to Orf because of the settlers
Yeah,
who founded Orf, they used to have a monotheistic religion a long time ago, the over 2,000 years beforehand. But now they since abandoned that for worshiping the abyss. They missed that.
yeah, they do kind of mention that. They just kind of gloss over it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but they actually
Again,
were
a
they
lot of the
worship.
world building stuff, like they'll kind of mention it or just kind of mention it in passing, and then just move right along.
The manga, no, they ain't mentioned it at all. But the manga, they brought that made clear. They worship the people worship the abyss now, and with the evil, they even though we know it's evil, they worship that.
So
Uh,
these people are actually worship this thing as
yeah, worship the power of the abyss. So,
that's interesting
and,
because
and
they
that's
don't really
why.
do that in the anime. They just basically make money off of it.
But they don't just make money off of it. They actually worship it and its power. That's why we get these invented scientists like Banjuru.
Yeah, which that when you learn at the end of this movie how the white whistles are created or how one
Mm,
becomes one, it all of a sudden makes a lot more sense why there's not a lot more of them.
I know, I know.
Because I mean I think we were talking about it offline, and it makes sense that all cave raiders would want to be a white whistle
Mm-hmm.
up until you learn how they're made,
And
and
also,
then it
also
makes them.
and also there's a reason why it's not public knowledge too.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
because people would look at them very, very differently than the basically national heroes that they're treated as in the cartoon or in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
These people are all murderers, every one of them.
Yeah, I know every one of them. I know, and so you get
So it's just
so
kind of one of those like wearing one of those around your neck, if it was public knowledge, would basically be admitting that you've killed someone in cold blood.
mm,
Because it's not just you have to have killed someone; you have to have ritually sacrificed them.
mm, we learned that in this scene, in the scene where he explaining when we explain why Riko can't go to sixth layer. She ain't got on white whistle. Yeah,
Yep.
obviously he's not going to let them through.
And you also learn that each one is unique to its owner.
No, no, we know that, right? We learned that in the first episode of the first season.
Well, but you didn't know that you couldn't, that only that person can use it.
Yeah, we did. We
Did they
did.
mention that? Oh,
They
that's
mentioned
right.
that.
They
They
didn't
mentioned that.
mention it in episode 13.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no. Early on in the first season, very early on, they mentioned that the white whistle can only be used by its original owner. They
well, yeah,
said that, but
but
we
they
don't
kind of
know.
conveniently forget that until the very end of season one, and like somebody questions Riko on it, and she's like, "Wait, shit."
Yeah, cause yeah. Now they bring it up and basically realize you have to kill somebody on to make the. Banjo tells her she has to kill somebody on to make the white whistle. Uh, and the person has to be of value, so it can't just be no so it can't just be
Yeah,
no random nobody.
you can't just drag a rando down there or somebody you don't like and kill
Mhm.
them. It has to be somebody who has value to you. Which,
Mhm.
oof.
And Bondrew actually sacrificed himself because he decided to sacrifice himself and upload his consciousness to a machine, to the mask.
Yep.
Well,
So the flesh that he's riding, the entire time we meet him, that is not his real body. His real body's long gone.
Yeah. He used it to make the white whistle from the bones. And and now he has turned his daughter into a cartridge. He cut her up. He cut his daughter up. His daughter loves him very dearly because she thinks he's the best guy, best dad ever.
Yeah, and he
They
kind of is. Like up until that point,
up
he's
until
very
up until
he's very doting. He cares for her deeply. I think that's genuine.
I
And
know it is genuine in his twisted mind.
yeah, he's just a monster. Um, but it's really interesting. Like you see him treat his daughter really well and be very kind to her and very understanding and gentle, even when she goes against him
Mm-hmm.
and does things that tells her not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he never really reacts. Like he never punishes her or yells at her or anything like that. Like so, it's kind of like okay. And I think that was like
Because
everyone's initial red flag of, but I think she went against his will. That's and he's just fine with it. And that was kind of interesting. And then you see what he does later.
he's understand why, because he needs her to love him fully, to
Exactly.
unconditional, no for him for use her power to give him the blessing of the abyss, like a, like a, uh
So
you
yeah, it was, and it's like it was kind of one of those too. Like well, he's clearly being or acting genuine about this, but why? Because he has no incentive
and
to.
that's the only that's and we learned that's the only reason why though.
Yeah, and but you don't find that out until way later in the story,
Yeah,
and like
later
later on in
on,
the movie, and like at first you're like, why is he treating her this well? He's clearly a bad guy because you see it like one of the first scenes he's in is when they're trying to dissect Reg.
mm-hmm.
So you're
His
clearly
means
like,
is trying to do that.
well, yeah, but he's watching, so he's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this guy is clearly an asshole. So why is
The
he
fact he
treating
told him to do that.
yeah? So why is he treating his daughter like a princess and Riko like princesses?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's one of those things that make you start thinking. Um,
Another thing to establish was the relationship of the parties that this Riko treats Nanachi a lot better than how she treated Reg in the first season.
yeah, she's
No,
like instantly like best friends with her. Really,
there's the reason for that I think is that because she's an organic.
yeah, true.
So,
And it's
which
also I think how they're introduced to each other is a way too, where Reg is just this thing that she found at first
mm,
until she gets to know him a lot better.
mm,
And whereas Prushka is presented to her as a friend from
I
minute
mean, she
one.
saved her life. She saved her life because her
Yeah,
arm was messed up.
yeah, and um, they are, and she is presented as a friend and ally pretty much from minute one to her, and even in how they interact. So I think that has a lot to do with it, because
Mm,
how we meet people kind of determines how we treat them in a certain
yeah,
way.
yeah, because another thing we learned another thing during that scene was after Bondra was given the exposition on all this stuff. That's when he encounters Ray second time.
Yep.
Who's Reg, who's all let's it's all he's in a fury because the electricity just sent him back to his original sent him back to his kind of weird programming state. Don't know
Yeah,
exactly what that is yet.
yeah, because he's not. He loses a lot of his memory again.
Temporarily he gets him back immediately. So,
Yeah,
so uh
but they don't. But like when they take his memory away, they're not, or they don't tease that he's gonna get it back. He's like, so for a while there, you think that oh shit, he's gonna have to start all over again.
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. So we don't know what that might be an alternate programming stage or something.
Yeah, like
Uh,
he kind of turns into a whole different beastie when he's powered up like that.
And then and he also destroys the entire facility when one
Basically,
blast.
brings the whole place down around their ears.
And that's how most of the hands die, by the way, of course.
Mm-hmm. Just they either get vaporized by a giant laser
or
or
or, or,
crushed
or
by the
building fell
building.
on them. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the yeah. And of course, Bondry keeps up in the fight, of course.
Yep. And that's the thing is as overpowered as Reg looks, and they do a fantastic job of like him showing how powerful he is by basically destroying the entire building
Mm-hmm.
and just absolutely just wrecking the place. And yet Bondur's fighting with him on an even keel.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's like, "Oh shit, this guy's no joke."
Mm-hmm.
And
I
it's
mean,
again, he's complimenting Reg while he's fighting him too. So it's like he's not even really taking it seriously.
of course, of course, of
And
course.
that final fight is just brilliant.
I know, because because he has all the cartridges and he's trying to ascend from the sixth layer to mutate himself into a form similar to Nanaji. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but that's even more powerful than what it was before.
Yeah, and basically immortal
Mm-hmm.
is what he's aiming for,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
that's what he's
basically
aiming
just going
for.
to keep doing it until he gets it.
Yeah, he's gonna keep. Yeah,
Um,
he's going. Yeah, exactly. And then yeah, he's trying to create a new race of new breed of immortals so that they can just do whatever the hell they want now after that. Because he's not probably not gonna stop. I
no,
mean,
of course not. Why would he?
because after that, he's probably going. I won't be surprised if he creates a rapture after that. Remember Bioshock?
Yeah, well, we were saying that as well. That this guy would not have. I think it was the last episode. This guy would not seem out of place in Rapture or in
Mm-hmm,
Sanction, in Bioshock either.
mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like he's basically just going to be like one of those like, yeah, it's like, oh, you experiment on kids? Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably gonna go trying to. We don't know what he's gonna do after. What he's gonna do after he becomes immortal. Like that. That's one of those things. Like what's he gonna do after that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing with a lot of villains that or go for the whole immortality gag is they never really get into what they want to do after.
No. But he's the thing. We know he's gonna. He knows he's gonna do something after this though.
Oh no, I mean, he's never going to just be like, oh, cool, I'm immortal now. All right, off I go.
Like no, he's not. We know he's gonna do some.
He's going to be a significantly larger problem than that.
Yeah. Like we don't know what he's gonna do. Start his own society. What is he gonna do?
Yeah, it's a well, and if a guy like that starts creating his own society, everyone else should be very, very worried about what he's about to do to the old one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's a great villain in that
Uh.
he's
Uh.
very, very creepy, and like the more you find out about him, the worse he gets.
Mm-hmm. Because and during the fight scene, I remember Rick he's fighting with one arm literally.
Yep,
Fight.
because he only has the one hand, because they weren't able to reattach the right arm yet.
Mm-hmm. He still don't have it yet. By the way, like I can see, he still don't have it yet. So
Yeah,
still got one arm. Uh.
so but he's absolutely given Andrew hell, but it's just
So
not, but
so.
not, none of it's sticking uh, because of both the cartridges and his artifact.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, all his gadgets. Like he has this weird weapon that's like it shoots goo, slime out, black slime
Yep.
that sticks to that allows him to swing up walls, almost like Spider-Man or something, like
Yeah,
Venom or
it's
something.
basically a dark or black version of the web slinger. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it's some sort of, and he uses it. He can use it on people as some sort of capture device too, where it basically ties them down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he tries to do to Reg a couple of times. It just doesn't quite work out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but no, he himself is no slouch in a fight either. It's not. It's just that he's hard to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he himself is actually a pretty good fighter. You know, you have to be a white whistle.
And I'll live,
Um,
I'll be a white whistle. I know, because all of them are. By the way, we learned, yeah, all the
well,
white whistles are.
basically, it's because you're gonna when you go down below like the sixth layer, you're going to run into some really horrible shit, and you're going to
No,
need to be
from
able to
fourth layer
deal with it.
onward, actually. From
Yeah,
fourth layer onward, actually.
but the deeper you go, the worse they get. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like you're going to need to be on
Good
your
at killing
on the
things.
top, yeah, on the top of your game in order to survive down there
Mm-hmm.
for any
I
length of
mean,
time.
Ozen, we had modified herself with these pins called that give her super strength. That's
Yep,
all over about.
and you have, I think most of the white whistles have their own little unique. Um,
Artifacts that they put on, they only
yeah,
give to themselves because no,
well,
normally
because they're the only ones who can go down that deep to go get that stuff, that kind of stuff,
mm,
and because the
mm,
artifacts get a lot more useful and overpowered as you get deeper as well.
yeah,
So the really good stuff is not up at the top where anybody can
of
get it.
course.
They're the only ones who can go get it,
Mm,
which is also although they still can never come back after a certain point.
I know.
Once you go to the
Layer
sixth
six
level,
onward, layer
yeah,
six
once you go
onward,
below the sixth level, you can never go back to the surface.
yeah, yeah. No, go back, yeah, but uh, yeah. This is about the fight well, fight scene, especially when Bandru brings Ray down to the very bottom of that pit where they had all the kids he experimented on,
Yeah,
do their mutates or hollows, and he still remembers all their names. That's the
that's what makes it really creepy. Is that he cared enough to remember their names,
and you know he remembers their personalities too, and what
so he had absolutely no malice in his heart to do that, but he did
mm,
what he did.
mm,
And I think it's really like some of the things that like make the Holocaust as creepifying and horrific as it is because of just how casually he does these things, just like that how they were treated.
mm,
Like he does it very casually, and it's very businesslike and professional and
mm,
methodical. Like he knows what he's doing, and he's not doing it with any kind of malicious intent. He's just
it's just a means and end.
yeah, he's just a mad scientist doing bad scientist things. And that's what really makes him so compelling as a villain.
Mm,
Is he's got no hate in his heart for anybody, even when he's trying to kill them,
mm,
and he's just doing what he feels he has to do to achieve his goals.
mm,
It's just that what he wants to do is absolutely horrific.
mm.
So
And eventually Rick does defeat him by because he during the fight, this is one thing I missed because this comes up again in the second season. uh 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 Bondril sticks one of his claws he now has into Rex's belly button because that's one of his few weak points.
yeah,
No,
and you find that early in the or not early, but partway through the first season too, that he does have weak spots.
of course. Because of course, because those parts of him may have flesh that's and
Yeah,
openly exposed. Named that.
but you also
They
find out just how goddamn durable he is.
yeah, because Rico, even this movie, Rico constantly mentions Rex's penis.
Yeah,
How it was
that
made out of flesh.
yeah, that was kind of like that's where it kind of like not like woke cringe, but it's just kind of like really didn't want like yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's also like kind of like that's interesting.
Yeah, it'll make sense that she'll be kind of interested in that. So,
Yeah,
but uh,
and again, it might lead to something later, but has no idea about it at first. And
no,
then
no,
she mentions it to Prushka, who's just straight up never even seen one, so
uh,
and has no idea
uh,
what it is.
no. 'Cause the first season, she mentioned that she's surprised that's made out of flesh, but actually
Yep.
not. It's not metal. Yeah,
Isn't that episode 1, in fact?
yeah. Episode 1, episode 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's just like, wow, we didn't really waste any time going there.
Um. So we know he has blood. And now we know this movie has blood. So he's pretty much he was a human at some point.
Yeah, like, or, yeah, he was human, at least ish, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago that was, we don't know.
exactly.
And in the Abyss, time works very, very strangely.
Oh yeah, and the best they split state that time moves slower the furry go down.
Yeah, so for what might not be considered a long time up on the surface, been a long, long time down in down in the hole.
No, it's the other way
No,
around.
sorry, yeah, other way around. Sorry, yeah, like you could have been gone for hours for what doesn't feel like very long, and you have. Um,
Yeah,
but no, it's a really interesting universe they've created here.
he's even come more plot point in season two. Well,
Okay,
almost at the stars, literally at the start of season two, because I'm a important plot point. The time moves slow down there.
I figured that would come up at some point because they went out of their way to mention it, and they haven't really shown it off that much. So I
Because no, I mean,
figured
it
that,
seen surface that much. That's why.
yeah. Where
What
so
upper
we're
layers.
just like the birthday disease, where I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's going to be important later.
Yeah, but the whole time the relation day it becomes more important as we go on.
Yeah, but like it's another one like that where they mentioned it and they haven't really done a lot with it. So I'm like, they're going to bring that one up later because a lot of these shows are so tight, especially this one, that if they mention something, they did it on purpose
Mm.
because they either are going to use it as a plot point in the future, or it's world building that you're going to need to know.
Mm. So then during the fight anyway stabs him in the butt, stabs Ray in the belly button during this fight, and because but even though he's in pain, although Bondru thinks he's imitation of pain because he thinks he's completely machine. Like why we why won't
Yeah,
robot pain imitation?
Bondrewd said basically thinks he's not actually capable of feeling pain, and he's just imitating it.
Wait, was why would you program a robot pain receptors anyway? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's true as well. But why would you be doing half of the things Bondrewd does?
No, talk about why. No, I'm talking about why would you program a robot with pain receptors anyway? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you're that's very true. Why would you? Um,
No, no,
unless you know, but the mysteries around Reg's creation at Purpose are really, really cool, and I can't wait to see how they resolve that.
okay. No, but anyways, because Rex still moves his body, so he used the incinerator on Bandru while he's right there, at point blank.
Yeah,
It
pretty
cut
much.
and it basically cuts him in half.
And that's still, I mean, like it takes a lot to kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at this point he has superhuman strength, extreme amount of superhuman strength now.
Yeah,
Because of the blessings of the six layers, like I said, the one quote blessing. Uh, uh,
so Bondrewd is extremely difficult to kill, really strong, and
mm,
it looks like he's might even win for a second.
mm, Red uses the incinerator and cuts him in half, that body in half.
And that's when you figure out that Riko did actually sabotage the machine, and that he's not going to be able to transfer this time.
Uh, yeah. Although he does transfer again. Well,
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
yeah, because they didn't destroy the mask.
but
They destroyed the filled machine, but they didn't destroy the mask though.
yeah. So he's in something. So he'll be back.
He's another one of the upper Umber hands that survived. One of the few that survived.
Yeah. So I mean, I like that they defeated him, but he's going to be back because that's a way too good a villain to do a one
Well,
off.
he's still involved in the plot, but he's not real on screen that much in season two because they passed his layer.
Well, yeah.
So
So but he's way too good a villain to just kill off in one appearance. Um,
uh
so
uh
I'm glad that they're going to keep him around and see what they can do with him.
uh oh, by the way, the capsule that Pruska was in, Minya realizes smells his Pruska immediately.
Yeah, and immediately
Uh,
goes over and starts licking it, which is kind of creepy.
and he also starts crying too. Uh,
Yeah, but it starts basically licking up all the liquid that's leaking out of it.
all the
It's just like,
blood,
yeah, it's just, oh yeah, like all the blood. It's just like, yeah, it's not something a cute
but
little,
also crying,
yeah, a cute little fuzzy animal should be doing.
but also crying.
Yeah,
And then Mania's last wish is to become a white whistle for Rico, and because Prushka always wanted to become go on adventures with Rico
yep, and now
during
she
his movie.
can.
Now she can as a white whistle,
Yeah, and but I was just sitting there like watching that, like, wow, they really went there.
and yeah, Prushka is now the white whistle. So
Yep. So they not only killed the child, they used it to basically make the main character be able to continue, and also carrying her what's left of her corpse with it or with her,
mm,
which
yeah,
is wearing her around her neck, which is
yeah.
yeah.
So we learned from this scene that all the white whistles are murderers. So
Specifically, that they've killed something valuable to them,
mhm,
and they've done it in cold blood.
mhm,
So that's special.
and that's why nobody tells the surface as well as that. But uh,
Well, yeah, and also why there's so few white whistles,
mhm.
because
There are a
not
couple
everyone has it takes.
in the manga. There are a couple other white whistles that Ozen mentioned. By the way,
Hmm.
well, even deeper.
Yeah, because they've mentioned three of them, but they've only shown Bondru.
Ozen and Bandru.
Yeah, but
Ozen's white whistle
other
too.
no, but other than Ozen, like she mentioned two others in Bondru,
Mhm.
and we've only seen one, so I'm guessing each one of them is going to be a major bad guy at some point.
Yeah, I know.
Because these
I'm
white
guessing that
whistles are
too.
not good people.
Yeah, yeah,
So
of course. You had to commit murder in order to become one.
yeah,
So
and
that mean that what that
when you see the art for the white whistle for the other white whistles, like because they did show them briefly,
mhm,
they look like villains. Like they look like they're designed to be bad guys, just like
mhm,
Bondru did, where he has that menacing helmet and it's just like, uh huh,
mhm. One of them,
you're going to be a villain.
yeah, one of them. What if you know? Remember that episode scene for episode 6 when the episode of the sequel camp thing? One of them literally has a plague doctor mask on as his
Yep,
costume.
that's usually not the good character.
Like the plague doctor, literally a plague doctor uniform. We don't I don't know the names yet. So it ain't shown up yet, but they're going to show up.
Yeah, so it's that's one of those like you'll know him when you see him.
Yeah, and each one's going to be a villain, of course. They're going to be a villain, of course. So that's pretty much setting that up.
They'll probably each be that season's big bad essentially.
Yeah, one ain't showing up in second season yet though. So,
Okay, so I mean,
but maybe it's third season, we might get another one.
yeah, so like Bondred only shows up in the last couple episodes, so and
The-
there
the-
and in the TV show or in the series itself, he's really only mentioned. You don't ever actually meet him.
Now we do actually see him in a flashback when Nanachi and Midi.
Well, yeah, but the characters never actually meet him.
Yeah, the characters never
Um,
actually meet him.
but
No, only Nanachi has.
yeah, and um, you only see him in flashbacks, so he's really not that large a presence in terms of screen time.
Mm,
But man, do they make his appearances impactful?
mm, uh, uh, and then yeah, so yeah, like Fruska is now the white whistle that Rico has. See, even sexy, she even calls the white whistle Fruska. So
Yeah,
so
just in case anyone was confused and or forgot.
and also Mania becomes Rico's permanent pet now.
Yep.
Like
So basically, Rico's just taken over everything Prushka had and was,
mhm,
which is kind of interesting.
uh and even after Banjo survives, for some reason they don't go back and kill him. They don't go back face his job. Like they just continue on the journey since he doesn't stop them either.
Well, of course not. It's never gonna. I mean, it's never going to stop the villain. Like,
They did not, and now that Bondru doesn't stop them either. He just lets them
no,
go.
well, no, well, because he's recovering slightly,
Yeah, he's
and
probably going. I mean,
they're just trying. They're not actually trying to stop him in terms of their ultimate goal. Their goal is just to continue their journey.
well, now she just want revenge. Well, now she just want revenge to stop him, but he's trying to that he failed.
Yeah,
Man, she's just okay with that. That's kind of weird. That she failed, but she's okay with it.
yeah, like that was kind of odd. Like out of all the characters, I expected her to be the one to kill him. Because I mean, the others have
No
what he's
connections to
done,
him,
and well, yeah, they know what he's done to them, and in the current era, but Nanachi has memories of this dude.
and she actually wants revenge and was planning to get revenge on him all that time. That's why that's part of the reason why she stayed in the abyss.
Yeah,
Mm.
and she's basically just, you know, she exists to get revenge on Bondrewd, and then she doesn't go through with it,
Mm.
which is interesting.
Uh, also, another reason why Nancy stayed in the abyss is because well, she can't return to the surface because people not might not react well to a rabbit girl living amongst them.
Especially because they know what hollows are, and they're not fans, shall we say?
No, I don't think they know what the hollows are, but they'll probably kill her in that
Cave,
sector.
well, the cave raiders do, I
The
know,
cave
but
raiders do, but not the surface dwellers though.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, okay, um, yeah, the surface dwellers might know roughly what a hollow is, but they would never have seen one,
Yeah, so
and
imagine you
they know to deeply distrust anything coming out of the abyss.
no, yeah, so they probably dissect Nanachi if she ever tried to come to the surface.
Either that or just kill her because they think she's a threat, even though she's a bunny.
Mm, like,
Um, but things that especially creatures that come from the abyss, are usually far more dangerous than they let on.
of course,
So
the creatures from the abyss wouldn't most of them won't come out the abyss since then magic stop working when they
yeah,
come out the abyss.
but a lot of them are even in the higher levels of the abyss, like say the first level or whatever. They are a lot of the creatures in there are a lot more dangerous than they let on.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's those little white weasel things that basically exist to be adorable and also get killed in large numbers. Which from I think they're in the fourth level when they're descending
The
down into the fifth. The little white weasel cat things.
weasel weasel cat things. I don't. I gotta remind me.
The ones that live in the walls of that big pit that they're trying to climb down into
Oh
level
yeah, they're
five.
basically food.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's all they're there to do is just get killed in large numbers. Um, to highlight the danger that they're in and also present some of their own.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, um, the movie itself is just and like I liked where they ended it too, where they end it right as they're going into the portal to go to the sixth layer.
And that's also where season two technically starts.
Yeah. So basically, as soon as they jump out of the portal.
Mm-hmm. But another thing too. Speaking about made the bit, so we also get two shorts at the end of this film about Maruk for some
Ah,
reason.
yes. Yeah,
Uh,
that's. I'm trying to figure out what they were gonna do with him.
the author manga wants to do some weird storyline with the surfers. So we have Maruk meet and the tie short was just for memories of having Maruk have a shipping between Maruk and Nat for some reason.
Yep.
Without without understand, Maruk is a transgender kid from the secret camp who's Ozen's servant,
Yep.
Ozen's assistant.
But they're gonna do something with him. I just not sure what.
Yeah, but he's they trying to ship him and Nat for some reason. That's literally what the first show is just for, just
Hmm.
ship him and Nat. Which
Yeah, I mean I can see it, but it was yeah, I don't know why.
that's the entire purpose of the short. Like that's his scene. Look like
Which it's fine in and of itself, but kind of one of those okay, but why are we seeing this?
mhm. Yeah,
because it doesn't
remember,
have any impact on the larger story, really.
mm-hmm. And then
In fact, I'd be
and
very surprised if Maruk comes in back into the story at any point, because once you go down to the sixth layer, you can't come back.
I know, but there's
So
gonna be gonna got cheat and considering that from what I did this might be a mild spoiler, but there's also teleportation technology that we know exists.
ah, okay.
So
So
there
he
might be a
might be
cheat.
down there.
So it might be a cheat.
Okay.
So uh but anyways and also yeah, another show we get one of Maruk's backstory for some reason.
Yeah, but it seems like they're trying to really build him up into a really strong character that we know a lot about and is going to be important to the story. But I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do that yet.
Uh, uh, I mean, Maruk has it better off than Pruska, so
No, oh yeah, I mean, like he's certainly well, he doesn't get killed and he doesn't get butchered and put into what looks like a cassette tape in a lot of ways. Um,
yeah. Uh,
so
but
you know,
I mean, he was the son of a airplane a pilot
yeah, pilot, yeah, something like that.
that crashed and
Like an
that crashed
airship pilot. It wasn't a plane
airship
pilot, but like a blimp or something
airship
like that.
airship pilot that crashed in the that crashed in the in the abyss, and then
Yeah,
that's when Ozen found him.
yeah.
I'm s-
I'm still struggling to figure out how that happened because
uh,
things due to the force field, like things aren't really supposed to be able to fly down there.
no, you can fly down, just can't fly up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, they can't come back out. Although they do show a balloon coming back out at the end of the
Yeah, I
movie
know.
during
Yeah,
the
yeah. Talking
credits.
about humans. Humans get mutated.
Yeah,
So on
but
foot,
in
no, but
terms of
inanimate objects fly up. It doesn't matter. Inanimate objects. It just only works on people, humans.
yeah, but there's
But things
reason.
not.
But they're. I thought that was an interesting way to do the credits too, where it's just this balloon's trip up the back up the abyss. And they kind of show you some of the characters and places they've already dealt with a little bit,
Mm.
and kind of give you a little bit of recap on where they came from and all that.
No, well, we getting Ruth's backstory for some reason. Like that's why I didn't get.
Yeah, but
Wait.
I can only imagine that they're going to do something with him in the future. We're going to need to know his backstory.
Mm,
Because like I said, this show is extremely tight. They
yeah.
they haven't
But
done any like kind of extraneous scenes even really
that
where you're not really sure where it's going.
and don't get at me for the pronouns of the Maruk the pronouns. I'm referring to it by male pronouns, but
Yeah, I
even
mean,
though he's a trans girl, even though it's a trans girl, but
I don't know which way it's going, so I just go with he because that's the
that's
one
the
I
original
remember.
gender. That's the
Yeah,
original gender. That's the in stores in stores it's a trans girl. So
yeah. So it's kind of one of those like I don't know. It's not really important. It's Maruk, who's a
mm,
character. Um,
but I'm just going with the
so
original gender. So
yeah,
in the store, yeah, in store it's a trans girl. So I don't know what the what's the politically correct way to say it? Like, you're supposed to refer to it by his new pronouns. So I don't
yeah.
know.
I guess I don't know. So it's one of those. It's like if I call her the girl or it, it's Maruk.
Yeah. Uh,
But no, he's an interesting character, but
uh,
more in terms of how he's going to be used rather than anything he implicitly is already in the lore
yeah,
and in the series.
because Ozen doesn't Ozen treats Maruk way differently than how Banjuru treats Pruska though.
Yeah, and much better
Mm,
in that
Well,
didn't butcher her.
one worse in one way, but better in another way.
True.
Because Ozen does treat Maruk like almost like a slave, but at the same time, does she's not going to chop him up and make him into into a
Make him into
cartridge like.
yeah, not make him into curse repellent essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean and he doesn't mind working for her is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's he does. It's not like he's forced to. He just does
Mm-hmm.
because that's something he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Although
kind of
she
one of
does,
those like
although she does discipline him a lot, well, especially like whenever he fails. When like in manga, they cut this out the anime, but in manga we actually see her strip him. Did the same thing we did to Rika at the start of the show, which is string him up naked.
yep, yeah, that was an interesting
Yeah,
punishment where it's just like, I'm getting some vaguely creepy vibes from this show of
uh,
children being chained up naked. Not a good look.
Ozen does that to Maruk. We learn. We actually see that in manga, but and like leaves there alone with from ceiling, hanging from ceiling naked. So that's
Yeah, that's one of those punishments that like it doesn't happen all the time in the show, but it's weird that it does.
yeah, that's
It's weird that it happens at all.
yeah, that's how they punish children, and that's how the orphans punish children.
Yeah, that which we know Ozen is related or is
No,
associated with
no,
the orphanage.
no, she's affiliated. No, no.
Um, but I'm interested to see where they go from here because
I'm wondering who Ozen killed on to make her white whistle.
that's what I kind of want to learn is not only Ozen but Liza as well.
Liza too. Like, we going. Of course, we're going to meet Liza eventually.
Well, yeah,
We
I
ain't
mean
there. We ain't there
they've
yet. I mean,
like that's one of the things I'm absolutely certain is going to happen. I'm
yeah, same here.
wondering how disappointing it's going to be for Riko
Rico.
to meet her mother that she's heard so much about and was such an amazing person and realize that she's kind of not. Um, but yeah, I want to know who Ozen killed.
hmm yeah, I got
Um,
that. Say, I want to know who. Hey, yeah, same thing. What? Yeah, same
and
thing. With Say Liza.
Ozen doesn't surprise me anywhere near as much as Liza.
Yeah, Oz is no surprise because how she acts, the way she acts towards people, and very cold, very.
Yeah, where she's not necessarily evil, but she is very distant and very cold. Whereas Liza's it is very bubbly, very energetic, very nice.
Like that may be a facade, or is she, or does she enjoy being the way she is, or what?
Yeah,
We don't know.
that's the thing. Is just like you don't know enough about Liza yet because you've also
See her in
only
the
seen her in
flashback.
flashbacks, told from the point of view of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
God knows if what they're saying is even the truth.
Mm-hmm. We don't know the full nature of Ozen's relationship with Liza either.
No, I mean it's clear that they have a history and that their mentor, that Ozen was her mentor, but they don't go into it much more than that.
Like for example, why she hated Rico so much when because she don't like her mama because because animosity towards Ozen and her mother. Like okay,
Yeah,
like they ain't on bad terms. Like what?
yeah, like clearly something happened because they were fairly close at one point,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're not.
Uh
So that's one of those like I don't know where they're going with it, but that's going to be a fun release either way.
yeah. So have you ever seen a fantasy story this uh in depth? Like so, it's like
I mean, there are, but they're few and far between, especially for as well produced as this is. Like usually, it for a show like this, to have this level of depth and complexity to it, there's usually a novel series behind it,
mm-hmm.
and not even just comics, like a full-on novel.
Mm-hmm.
Where this is like, especially from a plot standpoint, this show is really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's really tight. It's really compact. There's almost no wasted screen time where you're kind of
Mm-hmm.
looking at it going, okay, why are they over here?
Mm-hmm.
Every scene pretty much belongs where it is and is necessary to moving the plot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really glad to see that there's a show, or people can make shows like this in the 2020s.
Yeah, like yeah, because because well, this one piece somebody made a joke video called "What if Disney made the best?" Because Disney could never make nothing like this.
Although it does have some of the pedophilic elements that Disney's famous for at this point. I mean, what? I didn't say anything, YouTube.
I mean, the Disney couldn't never make nothing like this now, like this now. What?
Disney never would have made anything like this. Although
Mm,
Fantasia would come close.
yeah, Disney when even back then, even back in the old days, Disney would never make nothing like this.
Yeah,
Uh,
Disney would have taken one look at the plot and just gone, "We can't make this."
yeah.
Um,
Well, any American company makes something like this. That's the thing. This something only Japan can make.
Maybe HBO. Um, I could see them doing something like that, more in the line of Game of Thrones or something like that. But
But
yeah, this is really
even
much more of a Japanese thing.
because even then the characters probably wouldn't be kids though.
No, absolutely not. That is
No,
a thing in the West where you just don't do it. First of all, it's illegal, and second of
no. Even
all,
though it's in the cartoons, not in the cartoon form, it's not technically illegal, but it's still
in the
taboo.
U.S., in other places, and even in the West, it is like Germany. I think it is.
Hmm.
So they have to be extremely careful about that. To the point where even the guy animating it could get in legal trouble.
Hmm.
Um, depending on how that's classed and wherever he lives.
Hmm.
But yeah, it would be hard for a Western country to do this and not get looked at like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Um,
That's what I love about
but
anime.
but yeah, but since
There's
yeah,
no a lot of limits taken off.
not even necessarily that. It's just they have different hangups than we do. So you won't see the same types of things from American television that you will from anime,
Hmm. Because
which is very interesting.
yeah, with anime, because what is with anime, it's already animation, so there's less limits on what you can show visually
Yep,
because a cartoon is not a real TV show, and there's also less cultural taboos in regarding certain things, so you can.
especially in Japan, it's a lot more acceptable to do some of these things to a cartoon character than it would be to a live action actor.
No. We have a cartoon, in a cartoon period, because in the West, cartoons are for kids for a long time. We like for a long time. Thanks to Hanna Barbera.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and Disney before them. I mean, that's
I know,
been
but
a thing.
especially Hanna Barbera though with their
Oh,
shows.
yeah. I mean, that they've been. It's been the way the West thinks that cartoons are for kids.
No,
So
not the West, just America mostly. Because even the other Western countries, they allow more adult cartoons. Have been allowed for way longer.
but yeah, true. So like, especially in the U.S., it's very much a but cartoons are for kids mentality. So they're very very strict on what they'll allow.
Mm-hmm. Even ones that aren't for kids are pretty similar to each other. They're pretty much just Rick and Morty,
Yeah,
Family Guy.
even more adult cartoons are tend to be a little more like sitcom-y, like Rick and
Mm-hmm.
Morty or Family Guy are,
Mm-hmm.
where or South Park, which is
Yeah, sitcom.
the only one of them that's still good and has stayed consistently good for
Yeah.
25 years now.
Yeah. It's that American cartoons these pretty much had to be like some kind of sitcom thing, but you can't actually have a fancy story, the actual fancy story.
No, which is weird because back in the day we used to.
What
Um, we we had shows like He-Man or the hell Legend of Zelda even had its own cartoon for a while.
I know, but a fancy story that's also R rated at the same time, and as a cartoon.
That's
Never.
true, and that's something we've never really seen.
Yeah.
Um, the Lord of the Rings or Watership Down comes close, but that's about as dark as it gets
Mm,
for Western cartoons.
mm,
And anime, like some of the animes like Berserk or Made in Abyss or a bunch of other ones, they go way over that line.
yeah, but made that's why I love Made the Bit so much. It's so unique. Like this could never come out. This could never even come out in America. This is unique even in Japan.
Yeah, this could never have been produced in the U.S. or by Americans anyway.
Because no studio will approve this. They will approve this.
Yeah,
Like,
first of all, no studio would fund this, and second of all, a lot of the creators of it would shy away from doing some of the things they've done because of the social taboos that America has
mm,
and should have in a lot of ways. Where it's
mm,
and that people don't understand like what some of those scenes are for. This show is supposed to make you extremely uncomfortable.
mm,
That's
this-
that's part of its appeal. It is like you're seeing shit on that screen that you are like, wow, okay.
it increases in season 2. Like I said, season 2 goes all in because they no longer have to. They know people already know what to expect.
Yeah, they have an audience too. I think that's why they
All
did.
right.
I think that's why they did a lot of this stuff in a movie format. For
Mm,
this is so they were seeing. I mean, they played it safe for the first season on TV anyway,
mm,
and then went there in the movie to see if their audience would stay with them for season 2 after that. After doing
mm,
a lot of that horrific shit, and they did.
mm.
So now it's off to the races.
Yeah. So
It
that
was
doesn't
it
matter
was
anymore.
positively. So they're going full war now.
Mm,
And you will see that in anime and even some live action movies too. Like they'll float it a little bit as a test balloon, and then if it goes over well, then they'll do it full bore.
mm,
Whereas, um, like characters or plot lines that don't work as well just won't get made again. They will pretend that character never existed.
mm.
Like I would be surprised if in the MCU going forward that America Chavez either makes an appearance or if she does, like it's going to be very brief, and most of the time that movie's just going to forget that she exists.
I mean, with the Disney Marvel, they probably didn't even plan out. They ain't even plan out Phase 4 or plan out any of these
No,
stuff.
and that's and we were saying that before that was what made MCU Phase 1 and 2 so brilliant is they planned everything out and had which character was going to be at what movie interacting with each other while not overshadowing each other, and then after you've introduced everybody and given them their own movies, then you do Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas DC tried to come at it ass backwards, like Warner Brothers usually does, and tried to make the DC cinematic universe like 3 different times based on one on any movie they had that was even remotely popular. They immediately
They
tried.
wasn't
They
allowed to do
immediately
it with
tried to take a sequel to try to make a series out of it.
they wasn't allowed to do it with Dark Knight series because it wouldn't fit in Chris
Yeah,
Nolan wouldn't allow it
yeah,
because
yeah. Chris Nolan was not going to allow other heroes into his story, and
no, no,
he also wasn't going to allow them to cram DC anywhere or other DC characters around it.
no, not only that, but he also wasn't gonna allow his version of Batman to show up in anything outside of Dark
Correct.
Knight series,
Yeah.
and that would make sense because that his universe doesn't fit the red DC Comics universe.
No, it doesn't. But it's. I mean,
It's
and there's various reasons for that. Mainly because
yeah
Nolan just
because
does his own stuff. But
his universe is way too realistic, gritty. They developed for the his Dark Knight trilogy. It's way too
in a
realistic,
lot
gritty.
in a lot of ways, his universe is a lot too dark for
Mm.
DC.
No, it can be. It can be just. It can be no that way. Just that it's only first with Batman or only works for street level characters. Like Green Arrow
Yeah.
can be that dark. Um, but not Superman. No, not the
Well,
Flash or
obviously,
Wonder
I mean,
Woman.
obviously, Superman, the Flash, all of those characters, they can't be, dark, broody,
Mm,
or violent, because that's just not the aesthetic they go for in those shows.
mm.
Um,
I know.
but but DC, like as soon as they got Man of Steel actually sold
Mm,
well,
mm.
they immediately jumped down his throat and tried to make a trilogy out of it and tried
No,
to
no, no.
turn
Try to
that
make
into.
a cinematic universe and not skip the trilogy aspect. Like skip the because
Yeah,
originally that's
yeah,
what Zack Snyder wanted to
yeah,
do.
they tried to do he wanted to do a trilogy of Superman movies
But Zack
to
Snyder
build
that's what he wanted to
to
do.
build to build a cinematic universe on top of, and they
But
just skipped that whole trilogy idea and went right to the cinematic universe without
mm,
any of the building blocks in between.
Wait, we only got you only develop one hero, Superman. Like but that's it. Like you only develop.
Technically, they had Batman too, and technically, Superman's not even in it for the last two movies,
Mm,
at least not in a large way. I mean, Justice League, he's barely in it because he's dead for most of the movie, where everyone
mm.
thinks.
And also, what? Yeah. Also, why'd you kill him? That's the thing. That's one. That's
Yeah,
I,
that was the dumbest thing. You killed off Superman in the
uh,
second movie.
I know. He only had two movies.
Why?
Like,
It was
yeah.
the same thing as
Second.
like it was the same thing as killing Snoke in the Last Jedi. It's just like,
Mm,
why did you kill your big bad in the middle of the trilogy?
well, Ryan Johnson just did that because you already know his motto.
Yeah, basically, I'm a drooling idiot that really needs to rethink my entire existence.
No,
Uh,
no,
I mean that is he is just
no,
he's to the point where J.J. Abrams was spent a movie trying to fix half of the shit he intentionally threw a wrench into.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I know. Like, I know. Like, right? JJ Abrams clearly does not plan out stuff. I mean, just look at Lost. But
Yeah,
at the same time, he claims like he still clearly wants to do something with it, but you just threw it out the window. Like, Snow's dead. Like,
and Ryan Johnson like went beyond like having a different vision for the movie and going in a different direction with things. Like he saw which way JJ was trying to go with it and
mm-hmm,
where he wanted to what he wanted to do with these characters, and then intentionally sabotaged it.
mm-hmm. So now we're all like,
So,
so now,
so episode 9 almost feels like an apology for episode 8 because it kind of is.
so like Snow, Snoke's dead. Kylo Ren's the main antagonist. How is Kylo Ren the main antagonist now? Like
And then they drop the fact that Emperor Palpatine is still alive
no, and
in in your lap.
and it's clearly that's clearly meant as a meant to be Snoke originally.
Yeah,
'Cause it makes
and
no sense. It
you
don't
can
make no sense for him.
you can tell. Yeah, Palpatine makes absolutely zero sense in there.
But
So
no,
you can
because
tell that was a retcon kind of him trying to salvage the situation after Ryan Johnson had completely torpedoed him.
yeah, because originally Snoke was going. I know because originally you clearly tell that's going to be Snoke originally, but
Yeah, you could tell he was going to be the big bad in J.J. Abrams' head because they were building him up into that, even in
yeah,
episode 7.
because we didn't get to learn anything about Snoke either. Like where did he come from? Like
No, although you don't learn that much about the Emperor either.
now here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. The Emperor it was okay because it was self-explanatory. Because
That
role was
he's
self.
the Emperor.
Yeah, but yeah. But with Snoke, it's not self-explanatory. You don't know how did he get the Empire started again.
Yeah, how is he related to the First Order? What did he do? Like all that kind
No,
of stuff.
no,
You
they
don't
supposed
really
to
get it.
say that the first order is a split off of the empire. Wait, how did he get the empire started again?
Yeah,
Backing up again.
considering they basically explicitly say that the Empire is gone.
No, and
Like,
first order is meant from the remnants. It
yeah,
rose from his remnants. Wait,
it's
how do?
it's basically a reskin of the Imperial Remnant from Legends, but
Yeah,
different.
exactly. But it's called the
And
first order.
somehow the New Republic is a bunch of drooling morons that have no military ability at all, essentially.
Like it made no sense. Where does this guy come from? How is he able to make the Imperial remnant again?
Yeah, well, none of that movie made any sense from how the Force works to how the fact that the New Republic just basically let themselves get freaking murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They built a better version of Death Star with less resources.
yeah, with less resources, and by episode 8, the New Republic's basically gone, and the Resistance is all that's left. Even though they're
that
totally
doesn't
not the
make any sense.
rebels, they're
Yeah,
totally absolutely not the rebels we promised.
Wait. How we get back to the same situation as the original trilogy, and why it did?
Because they wanted to make the original trilogy only dumber, and they succeeded.
But here's the thing. Disney don't even view the prequel stuff as valid because they had none of the stuff from the prequels in there at all. Like establishing the
Yeah,
span prequels at
well,
all. Like he said.
if they could have gotten away with it, they would have done away with all the shit from the original trilogy too.
I mean, like I said, right now I'm trying to do trying to do
Which you see
like
how they treat the books, or a lot of the book characters, where basically unless they want to use that character, anything that isn't one of theirs is gone, unless they want to
yeah.
steal it. like Thrawn, or
Mm.
they stole Thrawn because he's a good character.
Yeah, he shows up
Um,
in Rebels. I didn't
yeah,
didn't
and
watch.
he shows up in Rebels, even though he shouldn't. Um, and any legend stuff, they just basically said like none of that actually happened, none of that's canon.
Mm.
But man, it is good to see someone competing with Disney and stuff like that in terms of
Mm.
actually creating quality content
Mm.
that
Yeah. Well,
somebody
made
might
abyss.
actually want to buy and watch.
Yeah. Yeah, made abyss. But by the way, I heard in Japan on is made abyss is on Disney Plus only in Japan though. But
Really,
and that's funny because wait, why would you have it on Disney Plus? That's kind of weird.
that might mean Disney owns the rights to it in Japan.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't actually own. They don't actually own
Really?
the rights. You know,
So, but
because also
how would
because here in America it's on Amazon Prime. By the way, made abyss.
yeah? But
In
that's
America,
interesting.
yeah. But in America, if you don't know, in America, Disney did made abyss is on Amazon Prime.
Yep, that's how I watched it.
Uh,
But no, that's interesting that it's on Disney Plus in Japan
Even
because
though
that
it
implies
airs on
some sort of
TV.
affiliate. Yeah, but that implies some sort of affiliation with Disney in some way because they usually
Yeah,
don't
but it airs
host
on
other
TV.
people's stuff.
It's also on High Dive, by the way. High Dive
I
on
don't.
streaming
Okay.
service. So it's on multiple streaming services.
Yeah. So, but that does imply some sort of relationship between them and Disney, which is odd.
Not really. Keep my, not really, then barely. Keep in mind, they know that does not own this, and know what they want, or what they want to own this. By the way, that
True.
IP.
I
Because
don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they'd want to be associated with this one. This is a little dark for Disney's reputation.
yeah, I mean exactly. Because even they do his thing, even Disney does own something that's radar. They will try to disassociate Disney brand from it.
Well, look.
That's
I
why
mean,
he
look at what they're doing with the new Alien series on Hulu, where they're basically
that's why
going to make it not about the alien. It's like
uh
what? Why?
Well, well, it's gonna be that's why Disney had Hit Monkey on only on Hulu now on Disney Plus. You seen Hit Monkey or seen
Yeah,
what?
I've seen clips of it where it's just like, but why?
No, Hit Monkey was actually good though.
Yeah, but now that it's owned by Disney, I'm wondering how long it's going to be before that gets bastardized.
No, it got canceled after one season. They
Okay.
basically buried it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But why would they do that if they already own it?
But here's the thing.
Or did they inherit it from somebody?
No. Here's the thing. It's a project that be worked on before Kevin Feige took complete control of everything Marvel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So
So
it was kind of one of those hangers on that they had to take when they took Marvel. And
no, not when they bought Marvel. Well, when Kevin Feige before Kevin Feige was in complete control. This is made back during the Netflix era of Marvel.
oh, okay, so back when they were good.
Now, yeah, like right around when that era was ending. This is in production.
Okay, I figured that came out a little after that. But
Now the
yeah,
show came out, but this is being made when it was actually making the show Hit Monkey.
but that makes sense. That Disney wouldn't like it then because it's from before one of their little stooges had complete control
Yeah,
and
uh,
wouldn't do everything they said.
yeah. So don't watch Don't watch Rings of Power. Don't watch the Wheel of Time TV series. You can watch Made in Abyss instead.
Rings of Power I think is going to be. I will say House of the Dragon isn't a complete disappointment, but
Mm,
that's only because we're in the first episode and I'm willing to give it a shot. I think it could be good if they do it if they do certain things correctly, and I'm pretty sure they won't.
mm.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm at least willing. Game of Thrones at least has enough of a hope for me that I will give it a shot. Rings of Power is going to be absolute trash.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna watch Rings of Power.
It's going to be beyond bad. It's going to be an insult to everything Tolkien was and everything
Mm,
that story stands for.
I think Sauron might be a woman in the show. I'm not sure.
I don't
Sauron.
think so. I don't think they'll do that. But anything else is on the table.
I think I've seen some pictures, but saw Sauron. I think what might be Sauron in this show.
Yeah, they're very keeping that one very close to the vest.
Uh,
Um, So we'll have to see what they do with that, but it's just
Yeah.
an insult to everything Tolkien did, especially the
Mm,
Silmarillion, where it's just like it's not how this happened. It's not any of
mm,
this happened.
well, but yeah. One last thing before I end the stream.
Yeah,
You seen pictures for Puda?
yeah.
What have you think about her design? Is
It's interesting where she's definitely hollow. You
mm,
can tell that. Um,
mm,
and she's kind of has a bra, but it's crooked. So
yeah, it's a metal bra actually. It's actually metal.
yeah, so it's kind of like a cross between if we're going with Star Wars references, Princess Leia's slave outfit and Chewie's bandolier. Um, so
Mm,
it's kind of interesting.
Uh, I don't know why I don't know why she wears it, and it's kind of yeah, it's weird. It's weird, and she has do you know how many arms she has?
She has four, doesn't she?
Yep, forearms. Yeah, she's clearly hollow.
Yeah, so
But
it's like
she's different. She's different than other hollows though. So that's to say at least.
yeah. Well, most of them retain their sentience,
Yeah,
which
yeah. The City of Hollows. Yeah, that's second season arc. But she's different from other hollows to say the least. She was let's just say she was never a human.
really. So she was born like that, or created like that in some
Born
way.
technically,
Okay.
born. Because it's said City of Hollows. Six late. That's the second season arc called. This was the first episode. City of Hollows. That's the whole season. That's the trailer show.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting plot point to start with. Is that there's an
Yeah,
entire city of these creatures down there.
yeah, and they read true. So
There,
yeah,
but no,
that's a population.
that's but no, that's it'll be interesting to see where they go with this because it's a really cool universe and really when it comes to like the deeper layers and creatures and stuff like that, the sky's the limit.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
they're pretty much only limited by the creativity of the author and what
Mm-hmm.
they want to do with it.
Yeah, I know. There's just so many mysteries that new mysteries that's coming up too. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
just
like
good.
there's so many things so many directions they can go with it. It's
Mm-hmm.
really fun to kind of pick out and see and try to think about which way they're
Speculate.
gonna go.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. Speculate. I know. Like some fans. Yeah, some fans are speculated. Some fans speculated that about how there are fan theories fan theories all over on the internet. So
and that's how you can tell something's actually popular when you have fan theories that get publicly debated quite often on like
mm,
Reddit and stuff like that, and
and YouTube too and all
yeah,
that.
YouTube as well. Like there's all sorts of ones with 40K and BattleTech and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
and that's how you can tell you're dealing with a real fan is we talk about this shit. And for those of you who don't remember before the dark times and before Disney owned Star Wars, we used to make fun fan theories and all sorts of fan arguments and shit like that all the time around these series because we really cared and a lot of people were really into it. And it's good to see that stay alive, even if it's not in the franchises I know and love.
yeah, because if you don't know, yeah, because there are fan theories all around. Because keep in mind, they just released a video game based off the series in Japan.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's how popular it is. It's getting video games. It's getting a whole bunch of merchandise.
Yeah, so
Especially and it sells more. And here, I heard this show's more popular in the West than it is in Japan. So
we might see a lot of that translate over here at some point.
yeah,
Probably not the game directly, because the Japanese make video games very, very differently than they do here.
no, it's like a plastic. It's like a 3D platform or something.
Yeah, but a lot of those games never get released in the U.S. for one reason or another.
I think it is.
But they
I
will. I
think it
think they
is.
will do a game. I don't know if it'll be the same game though.
No, I think it is getting released in the West.
Okay, but
No,
that'll be interesting to see what they do with it in terms of
because you imagine, yeah,
in terms
I think I've seen some from the footage. Imagine playing that game and uh imagine playing that game when you playing around these environments and these fighting all these weird
yeah,
monsters.
that would be cool as like not even just a platforming game, but like an action adventure game. almost like Jedi Fallen Order, where you're trying to or Dark Souls in a lot of ways.
But they doing this 3D platform where we play as a kid. I've seen some footage from
Okay,
it.
well, that's interesting.
No,
And
3D platform is like
yeah,
those
yeah,
old.
yeah. It's like the old side scrollers that now you.
No, no,
Oh,
no,
so you're
that's
saying
not.
3D, so it's like Mario 64.
Yeah, like Banjo Kazooie, Zooie.
Yeah, those were fun.
Oh yeah, but it's a lot of death. But we can die even easier though with the all these monsters running.
Well, I'm not surprised at that. It is made in Abyss after all.
And also, I think it's rated M by the way. So,
Hmm. I mean, I would assume so.
hold on, because lots
Give,
of blood.
I was going to say, given where this show comes, how this show comes from, M is a fairly safe rating.
Mm.
But no, it'll be cool to see that, especially if they start doing like other spin-offs and stuff like that of it.
I think the creator might do a spin-off manga, but I'm not sure. Like I say, I don't know. They see him rest. He goes on and off again, making putting out chapters. So because
Yeah, I mean,
it's just one dude.
you
Just
know,
one dude
you
making this
know, if this
manga.
was a Western IP, the second it caught on, there'd already be spin-offs and prequels and all sorts of other shit planned. They'd just be
Look, keep in
trying
mind,
to
keep in mind,
just be
they
trying
wait.
to beat the money out of this thing.
There's gonna be a long season of breaks though, because the creator get the manga. They had to catch up to the manga. The manga
Yeah, true.
got enough material for at least finishing Narp for a season.
Which in American companies, they would have put an entire division of their company on creating content for this series and literally just saturated the market with it until they couldn't beat any more money out of it.
Yeah, because they would just pass. They with Game of Thrones did just making up new stuff now. They're making their own original content.
Yeah, like they'll, and if something's even still remotely popular, they'll continue to do shit with it, even if it's not
No,
good. Or as long as it
no.
makes money, they don't care.
Yeah. Like they wouldn't even wait for the manga to catch up.
They will, and like this, they will produce Star Wars shows into perpetuity as long as people still watch.
yeah.
Like they will beat that horse to death repeatedly. Um, whereas I'm glad to see Japanese companies curating their content and protecting their source a little more.
Yeah. So bye bye everybody in check. If you're watching this on the replay, please subscribe
Yeah,
to my channel.
and check out the series as well. It's well worth your time.
And check out this movie. This movie after the series, because it's important to watch this movie before season 2.
Yes, because it sets up a lot. So you're gonna want to
because
watch it all.
season 2 starts where this movie ends. So,
but